Officials from the Ministry of Works and Transport appeared before the Parliament's Committee on Physical Infrastructure to explain the management of projects in the ministry. The officials were first put to task over the Mpigi Expressway, which has stalled for years, and why the project cost has more than quintupled from 547 billion shillings to 1.3 trillion shillings.
Also discovered it is true, there are always delays in most of the contracts as far as road construction is concerned.
Why was the design changed at a cost of 120% higher than the initial cost?
Why was the alignment changed? People were poor, wanted money. Because I've seen, it seems they have used that loophole of the laws to inflate the costs. And all along we have been giving questions here which they have failed to answer. It is true the road was diverted from a dry land to a wetland, and the investigations are still going on.
The Minister of Works and Transport told the committee that there were influential people behind the changing of the route who were seeking compensation for their houses and shamefully even for their land titles in the wetlands.
A few individuals had some structures ahead after the swamp, so the only way to reach on their buildings was through the swamp. Unfortunately, as you reach now, all of them are demolished, but reports are available. Honorable Minister, maybe because you don't want to say all these individuals are involved, you tell us the individuals. Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. And again, the issue of the titles, it is true there were titles in the swamp, but I think by the time they wanted to compensate them, already the whistleblowers had brought this on board. They should still help us to know who are those people who caused the changes and who are the owners of those titles in the swamps, so that they can be recorded and we know that these are the very people who brought problems to the Ugandans. The people who are suspected were implicated. That's why you saw our PS being interdicted, and yet by that time he was not much involved in these things. The PS was interdicted, and we have a number of engineers who are recording statements at IGG. I want to leave it at that. IGG is handling.
The minister further informed the committee that he had received a letter from the president earlier on Monday dismissing 6 engineers in the ministry over their involvement in the mess surrounding the construction of the Mpigi Expressway and the Mityana-Mubende Road.
So as I was leaving this morning, my office, I saw a letter from the president sacking 6 engineers, including a few I'm seeing on this front bench here, sacking them, not even interdicting they should go, and is choosing them on projects of Mpigi, Mubende, Fort Portal Road, the Masaka Mutukula, and many other projects.
And the minister said people were sacked. So members are asking, who are those ones? We mentioned them. It doesn't mean they will go away, because members, yeah, unless otherwise, because everyone is now fearing he thinks he's the one.
Some of them don't even know their fate. The minister has not yet told them. So as they are here, I think they are pointing at each other. They don't know who is going.
The 6 add to the former permanent secretary Waiso Bagea and 3 other engineers who were dismissed over the same road projects.
Still talking the big story of the evening, it is a multi-agency investigation led by the Inspectorate of Government and State House Forensic Auditors. Yes, they had to be forensic. They have launched an investigation into the Mpigi Express project. The probe follows a direct order. It is direct, and it is from the fountain of former President Museveni, who alleged widespread corruption, route manipulation, and massive financial inflation. But what were verified were administrative and financial files from ongoing criminal allegations and contextual factors. So let's get into those, beginning with the project's budget. And shall we? The budget escalation. And you're moving from 550 to 600 billion. Initial 2026 estimates that the figure for 2016. And that has skyrocketed, that's the word there, skyrocketed to the current cost of 2 trillion. The people doing these things have children and they also use roads, okay? And sometimes they go to worship centers. Good. All this is happening at the time when Fred Byamukama became the Minister of Works. Corruption and deliberately created delays in design approvals and contract variations significantly blotted the remaining shillings 1.3 trillion main highway budget. So the increase from the initial cost is about 1.3 trillion shillings as far as the budget is concerned. So top engineers are now, at least for the moment, jobless. That includes Engineer Dickens Ahimbisiwe, Senior Project Engineer, suspended, and Engineer Edwin Raymond Chiaga, Senior Project Engineer, suspended, and Engineer Patrick Mureme, Senior Project Engineer. Those three, at the moment, in my vernacular, they would say, Barira Kunsiko. They have no jobs. Engineers changed the route. The president informed the IGG that, I quote, corrupt engineers, that's the adjective, deliberately diverted the road's pathway from compensated areas and through their own lands for personal enrichment. So government, you and I, the taxpayer, paid for land. They diverted it so that the road goes to land they own, so they make money. The president informed the IGG of that fact, that there were route changes, unfortunately. Now, all project money paid out. The initial African Development Bank loan was almost fully disbursed, and physical works complete is just a meager 40%. And yet, this project was supposed to be completed all those donkey years ago, I think around the figure of the year of 2023. Current status, following a late 2025 supplementary bailout loan of euros 217 million, approximately 780 billion. Construction has resumed and currently stands from 40 to 47%. Now, current status, following that I just read, we are looking at 47%. That's why those of you and those of us who are going to the West, Masaka, and those areas keep getting stuck in traffic. But there's no traffic here between myself and Kanare, and there's no jam. Kanare, this is now Chisanja. Hakuna mchezo.
Well, what I've been hearing from the comments online is it is the president informing the IGG and then, of the details, which I'm going to give you a summary of, and then the IGG going on to investigate. The IGG is the investigating arm, but the president is informing the investigative arm. But let's get into it. The original parameters, 2016 to 2020, the main expressway, not the entire total project cost, but the main one was supposed to cost between 550 to 600 billion. As we speak right now, the current standing, it is now at 1.3 trillion shillings. And the reason they gave is that there's been inflated due to the redesigns, the delays, and alleged fraud. Now, the total project cost is supposed to cost about 600 billion right there. It has now jumped to 2 trillion shillings. That's a huge cost. Now, this also includes 700 billion for the newly added Busega Systems interchange, as you can see right there. And then the completion percentage, of course, we did expect that by 2023 it would be at 100% complete. But what we have now is stalling at 47%, and that means a huge chunk of it is still out there undone. But then the reasons given were that works resumed after supplementary funding was secured, and now we do hope that maybe it could be delivered. But the expected delivery date was supposed to be between May 2022 and 2023, and now we do now hear that the new date has changed to 2028 to 2030 because of all these delays. That means it will be delayed by 5 to 7 years due to the legal, land, and financial disputes. That's going to be quite an interesting one here. Now, because of all these reasons, money jumping from 600 billion to 2 trillion, the 6 engineers had to be fired. Wait to see now what happens thereafter. Is it prosecution? Are they brought to court? Do we look at the evidence? And now, where does the road stand, or will continue to be in traffic until 2028 to 2030? That's the big question tonight.
Very interesting. Now let's get into the engineers that have been sacked. And the rider here is the ones here. There's nothing about their luck. It's just that our production team couldn't find any pictures. I hope the rest did not hope that they will also be like that without their pictures. But as soon as we find the pictures of these, They'll also be on the screen. So let's go through the names. Engineer Twesige Ronald, Head Contracts Committee at the Civil Aviation Authority.